Hypnotists, coaches, imagine you've got a client, that client wants to lose weight. And so they book a session, but they don't show up. They get their boss to show up. Then they get their colleague to show up. Then
they haven't lost weight.
Daughter, and they still haven't lost weight. What the heck is going on here, and what's this all about? Let's talk about ego states.
Well, clearly they just haven't found the right person of the 8 billion on Earth or whatever to send in their place. Well, of course you can't send someone else. Ego states are the parts of your personality. And if they have a problem or need something, if you treat the wrong part, you're not going to get the result you want.
Right. So similarly, just as the metaphor goes, if you send in the wrong person, that person can't solve the problem for you. Well, if your brain is a collection of parts of subpersonalities, we have to have that right subpersonality, that right part, or what we call ego states, present to solve the problem. So let's talk about this, because we want to make sure all coaches, hypnotherapists out there understand that getting that right ego state activated executive is critical to solving any problem, whether or not you're doing so-called ego state therapy. So give us some pointers. Mike Mandel is here to share the wisdom.
Let's look at this. I've been working with ego states for many, many years now, and realize you are a committee. You're a digital being. You have different parts, as Chris was saying, that can become executive, meaning that's the one running the show. But this sounds like these are just psychological constructs, but they're not. This is mainstream neuroscience. This is what scientists know to be true now. These are parts of your brain that are burned in and take turns being in charge.
All right. So what do we have to start with?
Well, we have to look at the whole idea of executive. When we say executive, it means which one is connected, I think, to your neocortex, and that's the one that is actually you at that moment. In fact, you have an ego state that's executive right now. So do I.
Yes, I think the ego state that's executive is the, I don't even know what I call it, but it's the one that tries to keep the flow going while we're recording a video.
That's right. It. And a great way to look at this is think of a speaker on a stage. It's a person speaker, not a technical, not a speaker.
Not a speaker that emits sound, but a person speaking on a stage.
They're standing behind a podium. They're speaking to an audience. And that is the ego state that is executive, speaking to the rest of the world, or encountering the rest of the world. Meanwhile, backstage and in the wings, there's other ego states wanting to get to the podium and speak, or not wanting to be there. This is a shift all the time. One leaves, another one comes forward and addresses the world and what's going on there. So it's a committee. And your main committee is going to be about 5 to 15 of these you'll use day after day after day. But here's the thing. This is something we know intuitively anyway. This is all in our language. We say, oh, he was in a terrible state. And we mean
there's a part of him that was in the wrong state. Or we also say, like when it comes to, say, weight loss, the topic we introduced with, people will say, well, you know, there's a part of me that really knows that I should exercise more or eat differently or whatever. But then there's another part of them that just is happy, you know, gluttonously snacking on junk food at nighttime and eating ice cream or whatever.
Exactly right. And as I've said before, you know, we have a part that says, oh, I really want to go on that cruise. I want to go on that cruise. And it's a very exciting thing. And another part says, yeah, but I need to save the money. This is a conflict, but there are two different parts that are equally you.
Right, and they're different, literally different parts of the brain. There are literally different neural pathways that light up, that are firing at any given moment in time, right? And we can activate them by starting to talk about the problem, starting to feel the problem, starting to ask questions to make it even more real. That's how we light up those neural neural circuits in our brains.
Yeah. And that's a very good point, because we have to switch them on. If an ego state has a problem, we have to treat that ego state, as we've said. And in order to treat it, it has to become executive. So in order to get it executive, we ask about the problem, as you're alluding to here, and we can ask, well, how do you feel when you see those, you know, raccoons in your yard and they terrify? How do you, oh, I feel pretty bad. Feel it now. Feel it right now. Where do you feel it in your body? As soon as the person begins to feel it, you have made that ego state with the problem become executive, and now you're able to treat it. And this is something every coach, therapist, hypnotist needs to know. As Chris said, you don't have to be doing ego state therapy or anything like that in order to benefit from this. Realize if you don't have that state, feeling the emotion, it's very, very hard, if not impossible, to fix the problem.
Right. So if we can start to feel the feeling, name the feeling, give it an actual name, give it something concrete to hold on to, then elicit how bad is it on a scale of 0 to 10 SUDS, right, subjective units of distress, then we know where we're starting with, we know we've got it activated, and we know how bad it is. We know what name to call it so that we can address it. And regardless of the intervention, regardless of whether or not we're doing formal ego state transformations or anything else.
Whatever, yeah.
NLP interventions, talk therapy even. I mean,
CBT,
literally CBT, I was going to say, anything else, as long as you know you're treating the actual ego state that has the problem, you know you're going to get a better result than equivalently having your mother show up for your weight loss or your boss show up for your procrastination.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you're dealing with these at a high end, and especially if you're a hypnotist, a deep trance can bring any ego state to the executive, one that is still a child and has not grown up. So when the person exhibits this in your session and begins talking as different ego states with different voices, they're not demon possessed. This is parts of their personality. And they'll remember this when they come out of it. And that's why at the end of the session, I would always say, well, that's pretty cool, isn't it? And the person will go, yeah, you know, I didn't know I could do that. They'll be aware that they've spoken from these different parts. And by framing it as that's pretty cool, you're telling them it's normal, this is what's supposed to happen, and it will help integrate the changes.
Right. So whatever you're doing in terms of the actual change work, just keep that in mind. You have to make sure that the part of the person that has the problem is executive, that you activate it, that you get them to give it a name. Then whatever intervention you do, you'll be working on that problem state, that ego state, that part of them, that subpersonality
that has the difficulties.
Right.
Yeah,
and then when you do the wrap up and, hey, wasn't that cool that you were able to do that? That'll help cement the change
and show them that it was completely normal and there's nothing wrong with them.
All right. So for more, go ahead and follow us on this channel. We'd love if you helped, if this video helped you, we'd love it for you to share this video with others, and go ahead and check out the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy on our website. You'll see some links in the description under this video that'll help you out, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks again,
and good night.